Today on E39 Source we're working on an E60. This is a 2006 BMW M5. It's the S85 V10, the fun one, and we're doing an oil change today. I don't know if there's one of these on YouTube, probably is, but I'm about to make a better one. So starting off, we use the jack. There's a very conveniently located center jack point that's actually kind of like the inline 6 E39s. It's just this little black plastic square or rectangle right there. That's your center jack point, so it's very simple to locate. You jack that up from there and then put jack stands on your side points behind the front wheels. Make sure the car is either in first gear or drive if it's an SMG. Pull your e-brake handle. You can chock the rear wheels if you choose. We're going to start up here and just remove the oil fill cap. When we start draining the oil, this is just going to help with the glugging so it won't glug as much. So we'll loosen that, take it off, and don't put it upside down. That compromises the integrity of the seal. I'm going to get a shop towel and just set it right side up. If you're working on a car that has a dipstick, I don't think any of these had physical dipsticks. It's nice to take it out. Since this one doesn't, we'll just leave it. We are going to need a catch pan. I think this one has a 10 or 12 quart capacity, something huge. I think there's only 8 or 9 liters in this engine, so we'll be fine with that. Underneath, there is a cutout for the drain bolt. If you're familiar with the E39, it's a 13mm hex bolt. This car, nah, I needed something more complicated. We come all the way back. Here's that front jack adapter. We go another 12 inches back in the center, and there's a circle cut out of the belly pan. And if you look in there, there is a what looks to be a 6mm Allen head drain bolt. So I don't know why they did that, but they did. So that's going to be our drain bolt, and that's going to be our first step, is to get the pan under here, loosen that 6mm, and keep in mind your oil's probably hot, so get it loosened with the tool and then do it by hand, and try not to drop the bolt in the catch pan because that's a pain. So there's your 6mm drain bolt. It came out pretty easily. I think this one was over torqued, but yeah, no big deal. We're going to be replacing this. I'll show you the part number later. The kit that we got from ECS Tuning came with a new bolt, so that's convenient. Get that out. This is a 9 liter or 9 quart capacity oil catch pan, and as you can see, we were kind of close to overflowing, and now it's going to be a pain in the rear to drain this out, but it worked. So we're still dripping a little bit right now. This engine's very hot, so it's super thin right now. Almost sounds like water dripping in there. But now that we've drained the oil from the crankcase, we need to move on to doing the oil filter. And unlike the E39, it is not underneath the hood of the car. So somewhere under the car, I think I read by the passenger side, is some sort of a little trap door that we're going to pop open and hopefully find our filter housing. So this angle, front passenger side, right behind the front bumper, I'm thinking this is the access panel. Looks like it's held on with 3 or 4 8mm screws. So I'm going to pop those off and pull this little corner of this panel off and see if we can find the filter in there. So this is the access panel that comes down, and it was oriented in the car this way. This piece right here is what sandwiches up in the bumper. So these two that you took out from underneath, these two are the same. There's a total of 4 clips, 4 bolts. These two are the same with the big washers. The one on the inside right here, this had real wide screws, like it's threading into plastic, really wide set threads. And then this one over here had machine threads, but a smaller nut than these. So I don't know why with 4 screws they had to be 3 different kinds, but you know, it's BMW. So put that out of the way, dry safe location. Now we can get a look up in here at the actual filter housing, which is that right there. Kind of looks like an E39 filter housing, just more rounded off and situated upside down. There's another 6mm Allen head bolt here, just like the one we took out to drain the engine oil. We're going to take that out with the catch pan underneath because that's going to drain the oil out of the oil filter housing. So we're going to take that nut out, drain it. Then I think it's a 24mm on the actual black plastic filter housing cap, and that will allow us to slide the filter out of the car. So you loosen up that 6mm hex, maybe reposition the drain pan, take it out, and you really don't get too much more oil. I'm just going to let that drain for a couple minutes before I try to take the whole filter housing out. So a 24mm, I used a 6-point half drive and a 6-inch half drive extension to actually get the oil filter housing cap off with the filter in there. So these separate very easily. I should have gotten a plastic bag beforehand. I'm just going to grab some shop towels here real quick. So the filter comes off of the cap just like any other BMW. You're going to grab the cap, grab the filter, pull, comes right off. If you want, you can kind of peel these apart, get a look in there for any metal shavings, help determine the health of your engine. Throw that away, it's dead. Get some shop towels, clean this guy out. There is a O-ring right here. You can use a flat blade screwdriver. I have a pick set, so I'll just get a pick in there, take the old O-ring off, throw it away. On your new oil filter kit, this one's from Mann. It's the HU926/5X. As part of the filter kit, we get a bag with some goodies in it, and of course we get the filter. It's gonna go right inside up into the cap once I clean that out. Filter kit, the bag in here has the O-ring. We're gonna take some new engine oil and lubricate this. Just dip your hand in the bottle, get this nice and lubed up before sliding it on the filter lid. There are 2 crush washers in here. One crush washer, the copper ones, is to replace the one on the oil drain bolt, that 6mm. The other one is probably the bolt that we took out of here. And then there's a O-ring, which is on the bolt that goes in here. So that's where those things are gonna go. So here's the oil we're putting in. This is Castrol Edge 10W60. This is the, as I say, supercar formula, TWS, Castrol, it's whatever, it's the same crap. This is what we recommend. 1060 is what BMW recommends, so you can use the BMW Twin-Power Turbo or the Edge or whatever. I'm going to pop open the bag of treats here and pull out the largest O-ring, again the one that's going to go on the filter housing lid. And the way you lubricate this is so easy. Just stick your finger in the oil. Probably you want to use clean gloves, but whatever, it's going to get dirty. And then just lube this filter up, or lube up this ring. Make sure you get everything. This is just so it doesn't bind when you're torquing this cap back down. So now that that's nice and lubed up, we'll just take this. I already cleaned off this edge and pulled off the old O-ring. It's over there. And you don't need any tools to put this on but your digits. And make sure it's seated in the little ring that it sits in. And now we're good to go. So this is the bolt that goes in the center of the oil filter housing lid. See how it's got an O-ring on that? I used a pick to pick the old one off, clean the bolt thoroughly from any old oil. Get your new O-ring out of the bag, lubricate it with some fresh oil, and slide it back on the bolt. The only thing I'm concerned about now is the fact that it came with 2 copper crush washers, and there was not one on here when I took it off. And if I put it on, it's not going to thread in there, it's too big. So it can't be used for this. Obviously one is going to go on the oil fill bolt, and we have a new one right here. The part number for the oil drain bolt is 071199045550. And this is probably a couple dollar part. I would recommend you replace it with every oil change. And that's where we're going to be using the 1 crush washer. As for the other one, I don't see anywhere where it can go and fit. It might just be, it could have been erroneously put in this kit. Torque specs are as follows. The oil pan drain bolt, that 6mm, is 25 Newton meters or 18 foot-pounds. The black plastic part of the oil filter housing is the same, 25 Newton meters, 18 foot-pounds. The 6mm hex in the center of the oil filter housing cap is 10 Newton meters, 7.5 foot-pounds or so. So those are your torque specs. I put together the plastic plate under there, that's complete. And the capacity per the user manual is 9.25 liters. We're gonna put in about 8 and then get in the car, check the digital dipstick, and then adjust as necessary. So to reset the electronic dipstick, we're gonna get in the car and press the button so you get the lights and everything come on, but don't put your foot on the brake so it won't start. And maybe it is reset. It's you hit the BC button until it comes up with oil, and then press and hold the BC button, board computer button, that's on the left turn signal stock. And will it do it without us moving? I don't know. We press and hold it and that'll reset in a couple minutes, or maybe we have to start the car and then it'll tell us what our indicator is. We want it to say 1.0. From inside the E60, we're going to reset the service indicator for the oil service. We're going to press the power button a couple times until everything lights up like so. It's going to indicate what gear we're in. It's going to indicate that our seatbelts are wrong. Now I've already done this. It always takes me a couple times to figure out how to do it. But we're going to take the left button over here, press and hold. It's going to bring up our service menu. get the little thing. So there's our spark plugs, service, coolant or brakes or whatever. There's your oil. If you wanted to reset it again, we would press and hold. And it says OK, but ordinarily it would say reset, at which point I would release for a second, press and hold again, and then it would reset. It'll turn from yellow to orange once it resets. So really it's just a series of pressing and holding the left pusher and single pressing it to get to where you want, and then press and hold to complete an action to reset it. So that is it. With that, we good to start it?
Yeah.
I just felt for a clutch. There isn't one. We're going to let it run here for a hot minute and then check our engine oil level. That'll do it. That's the E60 M5 oil change. Really not too bad at all. I'm so used to working on these things, but aside from the oil filter location, it was pretty much the same thing. Not a big deal at all. Probably took us 2 hours. We could have done it in a third that time if we weren't chatting and looking around into the car and whatnot. Do check the engine oil level, drive it, let it sit a little bit, keep checking it from the board computer. Just press and hold the BC button until the clock comes up, then wait a minute or two. We were down, what did it say, .-2? Yeah. So we put another liter in and that brought us up to 0.8, and you want about 1.0, so you could still pour a little bit in this car, but keep an eye on it, you'll be fine. Thanks for watching, comment with any questions, talk to you in a future E39 Source video.